Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest all the way from Toronto, Canada is Kathleen Oleary. And we're going to be talking today about, well, she's known as being the quiz queen, and she's going to be teaching us how to market research fun and to make market research fun. Yes, let's get that, because really is it fun? No, we don't think it is, but she's going to show us how it can be and how we can actually attract her ideal client. Her work and her focus is identifying the biggest client attraction gaps that entrepreneurs face when attempting to attract their ideal clients. And we're going to talk about how to bridge those gaps with curiosity and questions. Her unique approach incorporates quizzes as a powerful tool to engage and convert prospects. And she loves to delve into the three major client attraction gaps and explore how bridging these gaps can cultivate a client attraction systems that attracts the best and releases the rest. We're also going to be talking about her free giveaway, which we'll talk about later, her podcast, Kickstart the Conversation, Leads, Lists, and Leverage. And we have a lot to talk about, so let's get straight to it. Welcome to the show, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm glad to be here.
I heard you talk on, of course, the 262 mission compact, and it really had an awful lot of wonderful things to say, which is great. But, market research, who is our client in today's thing? How do you market to them? How do you entice them over? Who is your competition? All of this type of thing can be rather daunting, especially if you're a small entrepreneur or even a solo entrepreneur, and there's so much saturation out there. And it's like, well, how do I know? How do I know? And that's kind of the first question, isn't it? Is like, who is my client? How do I find them? What research do I need to do? Where do I go to find it? And by that time, they've shut down and gone for a coffee.
Well, and so there's a lot to unpack even there. So as a solopreneur and entrepreneurs, as we create programs and we have our offers and our businesses running, we don't always take the breath and always take a little bit of a pause to make sure that we really understand our ideal clients. And there's a lot going on with that, with understanding your ideal client, because first of all, you have to decide who your ideal client is. And it's not so much, you know, like I have this and who should I market to? It's also, who do you want to work with? Right? Because it's they have to be a fit for you as much as you're a fit for them.
Yeah.
So I always like to encourage entrepreneurs to have a buyer's attitude. So even if you're talking to somebody that might be buying your stuff, you need to have a buyer's attitude and kind of thought process is like, would I buy this client? Not physically buy, but would I want this person in my community? So, like that, if you switch your framework and your mindset to something along those lines, you're going to end up having persona, or like a kind of a profile of the people that you love to work with, that work really well with you, that you can't wait to get on a call with and see what they're up to, as opposed to that person that is a vampire energy sucker. Just sucks your like all the happiness out of the world. And you don't, we've all, we've all had those clients, and it's hard. It makes it hard to want to do business with them. So, really understanding who you want to work with is the first step. If you say that you work with everyone, I'm going to challenge that, because not everyone has the same problem. Right? And not everyone has the same the same needs. So how could you serve everyone? That's not even possible.
Yeah.
I would challenge you to niche down. And everyone's kind of going, oh, I've heard this before, and I might leave somebody out. Yeah, You might.
Hmm.
But
The
guess
wrong
what?
person.
You're not going to be for everyone. You're like, I
Exactly.
mean, it's just not possible.
Hmm.
So niche down, start with who you want to work with. Yeah, is it corporate? Is it small business? Is it
Hmm.
coaches? Is it speakers? Is it like, who is it? What personality characteristics do they have?
Hmm.
And then, also like what businesses are they running? And how can you help serve them? So understanding who you want to work with and then understanding what their 3 a.m. question is, or what I call the 3 a.m. question. So, your ideal client, and again, niched all the way
Hmm.
down, your ideal client is waking up at 3 a.m. worried about something.
Yes.
They have a problem because you have a solution. You've created a solution because you've probably run into the problem,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So, you know what that problem is, but the challenge is that we who are on the other side of the problem and we're on the solution side, we don't talk about the problem the same way. We have
Hmm.
different language. We have
Hmm.
different ways of viewing it. So how does your ideal client talk about the problem that they need to solve in their own language?
Hmm.
Right? If you can get at that, you understand your client well enough
Yeah.
to have messaging and marketing and questions around, how can I help you solve this one particular problem? And then the people that don't have that problem aren't your ideal clients.
Yes.
So they're
Yes.
not going to be attracted to you. So
Mm.
that's awesome because you're not for everyone. You're for the
Yeah.
people that you're here to
Mhm.
serve. Is
You know,
that
I mean,
is
I
that fair?
think absolutely, and I want to go right back to what you said there, is quite honestly, um, it isn't profit at the expense of people and planet. It is about, really connecting with people, resources, and then the profit will come. And really, quite
Yes.
honestly, in any form of business today, even if you're at the cashier, buying groceries, we want interaction. We want to kind of feel connection. And so when we're talking with someone, do we resonate with them? Do we feel on the same vibe? I get you. We're on the same wavelength. You now feel heard. You feel understood. On the other side of it, you feel you can understand this person. You can address their problem because there's a synergy. And very often people are chasing business and the bottom line without realizing you are building relationships. You are building a community. And the best compliment you can have after somebody's worked with you to have referrals with them raving about you because of the experience they've had with you. So I think there's two things. A, understand why you're doing it. What is your why?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing your business? And also understand it is about building relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. And then how do you you know, capture their attention is with
Mm-hmm.
that ideal, like with that 3 a.m. question,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're already looking for an answer for it.
Yes.
So make it easy for them
Mm-hmm.
and connect with them in their own language. The other thing that, when people say, "Oh, I can't find people to do market research," okay, you got a bigger problem then,
Mm-hmm.
because if you can't find your ideal clients to have a couple of conversations with, how are you going to market your business?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Right.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, folks. I'm sorry for all you out there that are sitting there thinking, "Well, I can't find people to do my market research." Then you are not dealing with the ideal client that you have access to.
Exactly. You're
So you're
wrong
going to have
market.
way bigger problems,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes
right?
back to kind of understanding our why, understanding who our client is, understanding where they are, right? And
Yep.
also understanding that, and especially in the social media world today, interaction, build up a rapport, start the conversations. And people see that, they see how open you are, maybe to sharing a tidbit, how other people respond to you, and it's building up that rapport. It's building up those opening doors because we are saturated today. In the best six figure, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this for you, when really we want, hi, do you see me in the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, and do you understand that I'm an individual and it's not
Mm,
cookie cutter and it's not, like one size fits all.
yeah.
And like people just want to be seen and heard. And I think the days of, make six figures in
No.
12.2 seconds. That 12.2 seconds, that was preceded by 10 years of work.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
like, calm down, folks. Calm down. Like if you're starting a business, it's a long game.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
for the most part, people don't make six figures in the first year. Like,
Mm,
not very often. And for those that do, awesome.
absolutely.
Congratulations. But like
Especially if you can sustain it.
it's yeah. And that's amazing. And that tends to be people that have had other businesses in the past and know how to set up the foundations to move forward and move forward quickly.
Hmm.
So, give yourself a little grace, but at the same time, set up your foundations in a way that is going to, enable you to scale. And that takes a little bit of time.
A lot of people have come out of corporate because they're tired of being part of the corporate system and they want to go out on their own. You can't bring all of the techniques that you used in corporate into your business. There are some skills and techniques that you can apply, but you really have to adjust yourself because it is a different form of clientele. You have a different form of backing, a different form of approach now. So it's really kind of understanding there's a different mindset around it as well, isn't there? And you need to know what those steps are before you jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, like, if you want easy, get a job.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
entrepreneurship is
Yeah.
not easy.
No.
Like, it's got a lot of rewards, but it's not the easiest path. The easiest path is to go out and get a six-figure job, honestly.
Yes.
Um, but if you do want to be on the entrepreneurial path, be ready for the like daily personal development that
Yes.
happens. Like, it's the biggest personal development program you'll ever enroll in.
Hmm.
It's called
Hmm.
entrepreneurship because
Yes.
it's all about mindset. It's all about moving from an employee mindset into a business owner, into a business investor, into
Hmm.
like, a person that just runs businesses and exits
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
buys other businesses and so on. So and it's never ending. Like you
Mm,
get to one phase and what got you there won't get you to the next level. So what do you do to, what do you need to do to level up? And it's usually mindset. It's not
mm.
throwing money at it.
Yeah.
And it's not throwing, necessarily systems at it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
when you're growing, absolutely. But once you're past that growth phase and you're really scaling, now you're talking about really about mindset.
And you can't have rigidity. You've got to be
No.
flexible and know there are times that you're going to have to pivot. It's like be the willow tree. Let your branches go far left and go swinging right and be sure that those branches are strong because as an entrepreneur, you're going to have many, many pivots and you can't be rigid about it. Otherwise, you will break.
Yeah, and the business that you start is likely not going to be the business
Mm.
that you end up with, right?
Hmm.
Like it's
Hmm.
you're gonna start with one program, then it's gonna morph, and then you're gonna have a
Yes.
mastermind, and then something else, and then you might leave that and do something totally different, and then you
Yes.
you write a book, and then it takes off.
Yes.
You it is not a straight line. It's not a straight line from start your business to seven figures. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't
No.
exist.
No. And but the beauty of that, I'm one of those. I've just celebrated 12 years of podcasting, and June will be 11 years with my own network. I started off initially one podcast a week, and then I did two podcasts a week, and then I was doing many podcasts, and I had other hosts, and then I dropped the hosts, and I went into mentorship. Then I went into anthology books, and just. I had no idea I was going to do that. It's just as things came along, that was the next evolution of
Yeah.
the business. And I think if we are really connected with our businesses and we're truly listening, the next branch off presents itself. Again, you
Yes.
can't go, yeah, I'm going to do this in year one, I'm going to do this in year two. You can have the best laid plan. God laughs, right? Because that plan is
I was
going to
just gonna
get
say that.
challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best laid plans.
Big plans. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I know it's a cute. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's cute that you
Yeah.
have a 5-year plan. Like yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Um, but stay open to like I mean
Mm.
I'm all for planning and all jesting aside, it is a business.
Yeah.
So I'm all for planning, but don't be so rigid that that
Yeah.
opportunity that could be
Yes.
amazing for
Yes.
you, like that that when that comes, and I think that entrepreneurs are more open to those
Yeah.
opportunities.
That's probably a reason
Whereas
why we
when I,
left corporate and things in the first place, right? Because there
yeah,
was no flexibility or growth.
yeah, I mean, there was a growth path, but it was very linear.
Yeah,
At least
yeah,
for me, for
yeah,
corporate,
yeah.
when
Most
I was in
people I've
corporate.
interviewed on that, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's very linear, and you actually don't think outside the box like
No,
that.
no.
But where entrepreneurship is just like,
Hmm.
okay, we got this JV partners, and all of a sudden this person is doing this, and we're having this conversation, we're going this way, and
Mm.
wow, this is really cool, and this is working, and I'm gonna like pivot. And that's the cool part. But again, it's, you have to stay open.
Hmm.
And it's a mind, like, you have to be open in your mind. You have to be open to receiving those opportunities as they come along.
I think it's understanding your core. Yeah, again, back to the
Mhm.
why are you doing it? Yes, it's a great opportunity. You may be very good at it. Again, through the years of interviewing so many people that have left corporate and started business, they realize I was really, really good at that, but I never enjoyed it. And there was always something I wanted to do as a kid, but it was always go and get a real job. But then they realized what they did as a kid, along with the skills they had from corporate, they can now take that passion, that real desire, and really morph it into something with those other skills. But again, it comes into where you were a nice little box in corporate. Now you may be a round or a triangle or anything else. And it's like, treat it as putty and let it mold itself as to what it needs to be. But again, going back to the core, why are you doing it? Because it's
Mhm.
going to cost you time. It's going to cost you frustration. It's going to cost you sometimes relationships if you're not doing it well. And you've got to really know the good days and the bad days. Is the core drive of why I'm doing this still there?
Yeah, I think the core keeps you motivated,
Yeah.
because when you're a solopreneur, you're the boss of you, which you always are, but like
Yes.
in
Yes.
corporate, you're kind of not.
No.
Um, but like you can play hooky for the day
Yes.
if you want. There's nobody to tell you not to.
Exactly.
You could take the week off. You
Hmm.
can, decide not to take that call, or not
Hmm.
to do that course, or
Hmm.
whatever. And there is nobody to hold you accountable to that
Accept
at the
yourself.
beginning.
Yes.
That's why we get coaches and
Hmm.
mentors
Hmm.
to help us with that, right? Like, I mean, any 6 or 7 figure entrepreneur is probably going to tell you that they've got a mentor of some sort, or a
Yes.
coach, or a mastermind, or
Hmm.
something. So, like, but you still have to motivate yourself, and sometimes that can be really hard,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest. But going back to that why, going back to that core, going back to, I get to do this, I chose this, I
Hmm.
choose my hard, right?
Yes.
I choose my hard.
Yes.
My hard
Yes.
is motivating myself, but that's a pretty good hard to have.
Mm. Yeah. I'm always asked, who do you interview? And I say, all those that come from the heart. It doesn't matter what the topic is, right? Because there are so
Yeah.
many beautiful topics out there, but is your heart in it? Because when your heart in it, literally everything about what you're saying and doing resonates. It lifts up. It gathers people's attention. When you've got somebody just presenting something that they're not really heart attached to, it sounds kind of empty. But when somebody's really got a passion and a heart behind it, it really lifts it up, that frequency, that vibration. Like, ooh, I like this. I want to know more.
Yeah.
And so it is important that, and especially as you are going to be sacrificing a certain amount of stuff in your life, your heart needs to be in it because that will carry you through the days that are a little bit rocky.
Well, and there is, like, like, again, there's a bit of a roller coaster
Mm.
most times.
Hmm.
Some months are great, and other months are crap, and not having that consistent paycheck can, like, that's a
Hmm.
set shift,
Exactly.
um of its own, and being able to manage your emotions around that, manage
Mm.
the expectations around that, let alone managing the finances.
Yes.
So, like, it has to be something that you're gonna fight for, because you're
Hmm.
gonna have to fight yourself for it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and
Why am I
and
doing
to stay in
this?
the game. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of small businesses fail in the first 5 years, like, and then
Yes.
an astronomical amount,
Hmm.
because it's, like, there's some challenges, and it's not as, it's not 6 figures in 12.2 seconds. Like
Exactly.
it's just not. Like,
Exactly. And you talk about that niche, who is your client? And I think this is kind of very often when you're first starting out, well, these are the people I want to serve. These are the kind of people I want to have. But as you go along, you realize maybe it's not them. Maybe it's different type of people. And that, again, allowing yourself to grow, allowing
yeah,
yourself to change your mind. And somebody, well, you started off like this. Why are you changing your mind? Because I need to, because I
yeah.
realize this isn't my market. This isn't my niche. I realize that these people actually are better served by me. And it's really kind of having all your antennas open, isn't it? To kind of really be able
Mhm.
to read where you are best suited along the way. And don't go with the ideology of, well, I've got to serve these people because that's what I said, right?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of light workers and
Mm-hmm.
healers and so on, they can get into um the spiral of like I just want to serve and like, oh, they can't afford me, so I need to give it away, or I need to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that my prices are low or whatever, and honestly, you need to be serving the people that want to work with you, not
Yeah.
that need to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are other services that, can help people that need the work. You should be working with the people that want to work with you. And then you can help the services
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
people that need to, help the people that need. So, again, it is a business at the end of the day. You want to have fun.
Yes.
Because if it's not fun, it's not worth doing, as one of my mentors, Kimberly Crow, says. And you want to make sure that but you want to make sure that like you're taking care of your responsibilities and setting up yourself for success.
Exactly. I always say if you get up in the morning and do it for free, that which doesn't mean you do, but if you would, then you know that you're on the right track,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so that is your fuel to keep going and do. Now,
absolutely.
how do we use kind of the quiz mentality into kind of
Hmm.
discovering our clientele, our approach to things? How does that play in?
Yeah, well, most people have seen a quiz or use a
Hmm.
quiz as a client attraction process. So
Hmm.
I always say ditch lead generation and
Hmm.
switch to client attraction.
Hmm.
Because you can generate leads. You can generate lots of leads, but if they're not qualified, it's not helpful.
No, no,
Um,
no.
so you want to be attracting those ideal clients, and a quiz can do that for you by honing in on that 3 a.m. question,
Mm,
helping to answer that question. So if you're, for example, a business coach that takes people from, 6 to 7 figures, maybe your quiz is all about, what's your business superpower, or maybe it's, what's stopping you from getting to 7 figures, or
mm,
what's the hurdle that you need to you know overcome to getting to 7 figures. And that's kind of that conversation that they're already having in their head,
yes.
right? That they're already at 3 a.m. kind of going,
Hmm.
like, I really want to push through, and I'm not there. I'm hitting this glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And then, what are some of the questions that you can ask somebody that's going through that process? I call it a coffee chat. If you're
Mm,
sitting down with a good friend and they were saying to you, like, yeah, I'm at this level and I want to be at this level and I'm just like not getting there. What do you suggest? Well,
mm,
you don't suggest that they whip out their credit card
yeah.
and pay you $5,000 before you even have a sip of your coffee,
Exactly.
right? Like, I mean,
It's just
that's
not polite.
that's it's creepy.
Yes.
It's proposing marriage on the first date. It's weird. Um,
It's not that kind of reality
so
show.
it's not that kind of show. Yeah, people are kind of now. But you'd ask them a few, kind of get to know you questions in the sense
Mm,
of your business. Like, how long have you been in business? What kind of a business is it? If you're a coach, then are you a business coach? Are you a lifestyle coach? Are you
mhm,
a mindset coach? Like, are you a marketing and
mhm,
sales coach? Like, what's going on? Like, this is information that you as a friend would need to make any kind of
yeah.
recommendation, and that they need to think through to say, okay, like,
Hmm.
these are the basic levels of information that I would expect somebody to ask me and want to have before they offer me any kind of, solutions. So, There's usually 5 to 8 questions that
Mm-hmm.
people like, can sit down and say, oh, like, very general to kind of more focused on
Mm-hmm.
the problem at hand, what's going on with the business, in this case, a business. And then, at the end of the quiz, like you've promised a part, at least a partial solution to, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I see, I get you, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's 4 types of people in your universe, as a business coach that takes people, to a new level, and they get stuck,
Mm-hmm.
and they might get stuck on mindset, and others might get stuck on team,
Mm-hmm.
and others might get stuck on technology,
Mm-hmm.
right? So meeting each one of those people where they're at.
Yes.
So the mindset person says, you can say, oh, you know what? There's some limiting beliefs going on here. It's probably what's making you hit the glass ceiling. Let's talk about those. Here's a couple of things that you can do about that. And by the way, if you want to learn more,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to continue the conversation, then here's an invitation
Yeah.
to a masterclass, to a
Mm-hmm.
webinar, to a
Mm-hmm.
call, whatever that looks like. But they walk away with, some relief from this 3 a.m. question that they've had,
They've been
right?
heard.
And then
Somebody's, taken the time to ask the questions that give them a sense of, I'm waking up at 3 a.m. asking the wrong question. So the person who's asking the right questions is actually having you rethink about that 3 a.m. question.
exactly.
And and also you feel heard. Somebody's asking the right questions. It's honing me back into the center to really address what the real problem is. I feel
Yeah.
heard, I feel seen, and I feel this person can really help me with the problem. It's like I don't know how many times, and I'm sure you've been through this as well, where people are so excited about something, especially MLM or anything else, and they come and they're selling something to you. They're selling something that they're excited about in their own life. Now, I'll give an
Yeah.
example. A friend that tried to sell me fake nails when I had 3 young children. Hands in water, hands here, hands everywhere, and the last thing I wanted was fake nails. Not that I've ever liked them anyway. Little did I know that her company had brilliant nutrition, which I could have done with at the time. So instead of asking me what I needed, instead of asking me where I'm
Yeah.
at, she was selling something she was excited about. We want you to be excited. But if you don't ask the questions, how do you know what the person needs?
Well, and if you don't ask the questions and they don't go through the process of answering them,
Mm-hmm.
how do you make the connection?
Yes.
Right? Like how do you get to meet them in a customized way?
Yeah.
So it's not cookie cutter, because the next person through might
Mm-hmm.
have, IT
Mm-hmm.
issues that they need to work on as opposed to mindset. So how are they ever going to know that they're a fit for you? And how
Mm-hmm.
are you going to know that they're
Yeah.
that they're a fit, vice versa? Um, because what will happen is that as people go through the quiz and the questions, and if it's not relevant to them, and they're not like getting why you're asking this
Yeah.
question, or I don't understand, or this is weird or whatever, and they drop off the quiz, if they won't take a 60-second quiz, they're not
Yes.
going to finish your 6-week course,
No. No. They may be
right?
looking for a quick fix, which unfortunately will take them a long time. So,
I am
yeah.
not, and this is me, but I'm not interested in people that want quick
No,
fixes,
I'm not either.
right? Because that's
Not
not
at
what
all.
we're talking about,
No.
right? We're talking about
Engagement.
building relationships.
Yes.
We're talking
Yeah.
about engagement. We're
Mm.
talking about also about client retention, because
Mm-hmm.
it's 5 times more expensive to go out and keep getting new clients than it is to
Mm.
keep one, right?
Exactly. And have ones that
So
were
keep
willing to refer you because they've had such a great
exactly.
experience, right? You want that.
Take your clients into raving fans quickly. And the way
Yes.
to do that is to make sure you've got a base of clients that are already,
Mm-hmm.
you know, ready to go,
Yeah.
already a fit.
Yes.
And you're not kind of using your course to weed people out, and you're not using, your
Mm-hmm.
valuable time and their valuable money and time as well, um, to make those connections, and like, is she really my person? I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
this is right for me. Like, let's get that out of the way
Yeah. Yes.
before we even talk.
Yeah.
Like, let's just, like, like, you're not going to be for everyone. I love it when people drop off my quiz, because
Yes.
I want to attract the best and release the rest, because there's
I
somebody
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
else's best,
Exactly. Exactly. And
right?
that, I mean, we're A lot of people today in business, have that, we'll have a 15-minute or half hour chat, to find out if we're a fit. But what you're doing with the quiz is you're filtering out even those people. So that the people that do then want to really have the chat have already
Yes.
been set in place. I've answered the question. I like the questions. I'm eager to answer. What's the next stage? Let's meet. Can we go further? But that actually is filtering out those people where you've had an hour conversation to realize you're not a fit. It's already weeding out, isn't it? Which is great.
It is, and that's an expensive way to weed them out
Yes.
is with your time.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yes.
way too expensive.
Hmm.
So let's not do that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the
and
second
also,
phase.
yeah, and the other thing is that like there are a lot of checklists out there and PDFs and ebooks and
Hmm.
all the rest of it, and those are great, with the exception of the fact that people are overwhelmed and
Hmm.
out of
Hmm.
time, and 80% of them are never open once they're downloaded.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
you might have, like, somebody got your checklist and that's great, but only 20% of them have actually opened it and looked at it,
Hmm.
which means that they haven't actually read your content,
Exactly.
which means they haven't actually gotten to know you at all,
Hmm.
and you haven't gotten to know them at all.
Right.
So the missed opportunity on both sides.
Hmm. So do you design these kind of questions for people? Is that your
Yes.
forte? So whatever kind
Yeah.
of business somebody is in, you set up these kind of quiz questions as their intro. It's for people to
Yes.
to answer these questions, which again filters out, are we going to the next step? So it's kind of
Correct.
like when you're dating, right? Before you actually meet, there's some questions that you want to ask each other
Yeah.
in a chat before you go,
Yeah.
maybe we won't meet in person,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like having a not a headhunter, but a matchmaker. Having a
Yes,
matchmaker
yes.
ahead of time. Like,
Hmm.
let's have a questionnaire be your matchmaker.
So it's pinpointing because, people have answered. So now they've answered all of them. So they're actually really are intent and looking for the answer. They really are serious about wanting somebody to help them to the next phase, right? The person who's answered them feels, oh, this person's asking the right questions, even things that I hadn't thought to ask. So now that next meet and greet to take to the next phase, do we want to work, etc. There's already the ground set. There's already a vibe
Yes.
connected, and there's a mindset of the questions you asked me provoked this, and now I want to know more. And that it just lifts everything up into action, doesn't it?
Well, and it's that's now the start of the conversation, live
Hmm.
conversation
Hmm.
is, okay, you've taken the quiz, and you know what, let's talk about the mindset, right?
Yes,
Because that's where you're at. So let's not waste time with the
exactly.
IT stuff and the team stuff. Not that you won't need that, because you will, but that's not the priority. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Let's talk about what the priority is. Tell me more. Tell
Yes.
me more about the
Yes.
mindset. Tell me more about what you're looking for. You know what? We have an offer for you.
Yeah.
And I think that we could work together and really, move you forward, or, whatever that
Yeah.
is.
You're
So
channeling the
the
focus,
conversation,
right?
yeah,
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 focusing in. So many people, especially as entrepreneurs, is, that 3 a.m. And I'm guilty of that, with this moving I'm doing right now. Have I booked hydro? Have I done this? Have I done that? And you wake up at the 3 a.m. and it's shut up. You'll do it tomorrow. And the head was blah, 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 blah,
yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
just like it won't leave you alone. And I think it's actually a good idea at that time, if you've got a business question, write it down and go, I know
Yes.
who to approach tomorrow on that. Right, and go
Yeah.
back to sleep. Don't let it swirl over and over in your mind, because as you said before, it's very often that 3 a.m. question is not the issue. It's the issue around that question that is really causing the
Yeah.
problem. And by answering a questionnaire, you realize that is actually not where the problem is. It's over here, and I hadn't seen that. So already changing that mindset, when it gets to that conversation, you feel, oh, thank you. This questionnaire put me into where the really issue is. I think I really need this. Now you find out if
Yeah.
that person can help you with this.
Yeah. And very few people, I'm sure, wake up thinking, I wish I could change my mindset to get to seven figures. That's not that's not
That's not the
that's not what they're
3 a.m.
saying.
question. Yeah.
That's not what they're saying. They're just
No.
saying, I'm stuck and I
Yeah.
want to go forward.
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
okay, let's help with that, but there's some underlying things going on with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's discuss that. Yeah.
Your podcast, do you interview other people, or is it a podcast where you come forth with solutions and ideas and etc.? What kind of podcast do you do?
Yeah, Kickstart the Conversation is a lot of interviews. I do solo, like where I'm just
Hmm.
teaching. I also do quiz reviews or
Hmm.
lead generation reviews. So lead
Hmm.
magnet reviews
Hmm.
for people. So if you know have a lead magnet that you want to talk through and kind of get some feedback on, I do those as well. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But it's really for those entrepreneurs that have started their business and are growing their business and are at a place where they need to get off the roller coaster. They
Yeah.
need to be a little more consistent. They need some systems in
Mm.
place. They need to get to that next level before they go like supersonic. But they need some teams, some
Yes.
structure, some you can't wear all the hats and do all the things anymore. Like it's
Oh,
too big.
mean, believe me, it's a very wobbly neck when you wear all the hats. I mean, if you are a
Yeah.
person that's a solopreneur who has to wear all the hats, one hat at a time, please, because otherwise your
Yeah.
neck's going to feel sore. You know, the beautiful thing about podcasting, and of course, I'm a podcaster, you know, this is my job. But what I love about podcasting is that it is an incredible library of all the information that you want. Now, you know, you've got the podcasting, whereas I only do 5 minute podcasts. Well, I'm sorry, you know, for me, if it's a tidbit of the day, that type of thing, fine. But I want to listen to a podcast that really is going to be going deep, peeling back the layers, really getting into it. You want to feel that you've come out and not had fast food, but a damn good three-course meal, right? And it's something that kind of really feeds you. And the beauty of what a lot of people are doing in business now is doing a podcast. And so if you want to really get to know them, do you like their vibe, the way they talk? Listen to their podcast, because that will give you
Yeah.
an introduction to them to then go and take that questionnaire and that next level. That's the beauty and the gift of podcasting in itself, isn't it?
It is, and what I love about quizzes in particular is if you have a unique URL for your quiz, you can be guesting on all sorts of podcasts like this
Yes.
one.
Hmm.
And at the end of your free gift, you can say, you know what, everyone, you can go to quizformybiz.com and learn more about quizzes and learn more about
Yes.
how quizzes can help your business,
And
right? And
precisely.
you can use that anywhere. You can use it on social media, you can use it on networking, you can use it as your podcast host because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of hosts forget to offer their folks, you know, their own gift, let
Yes.
alone their interviewees gift.
Hmm.
And summits and
Yes. Yes.
like all the places,
All
all
the
the
places.
places. So
This is the form of marketing. You know, it's I've been doing a lot of shows on branding, and branding is not marketing. Branding is preparing for the marketing, right? And it's
yes,
like you want your brand to really be identified with you as a person, not something, well, yeah, that does is incongruent. It doesn't match, right? You know, you are known as the quiz queen. So everybody knows that's who you are. That's the identity of what you do. So when you're branding, it's got to be something that's not just a pretty banner or a nice quick saying. Does it represent what you are and who you are doing? Then you look into marketing. Well, marketing has changed so much. It is going on
yes,
summits, going on podcasts, interacting on social medias, choosing 2 or 3 social medias where you feel that interaction is best, and taking that
yes,
time out to do that. Don't try and be on all of them. Don't just post everywhere. Follow up with what people are commenting, what they're saying. Follow up with what other people are saying on other posts.
yeah,
Be interactive, because that's how you build your identity and draw people to you. There is so much work that needs to be done just on that side of a business. I take at least an
mhm,
hour a day to do that. And that is something you've got to be aware of. And there's
yes,
a cute story of somebody that told me she'd had this wonderful conversation with this person and had been going back and forth for, you know, for months. And then finally she got to meet her. And the woman turned around and said, "Who are you?" And she'd been talking to her assistant the whole time as her. And that immediately just let her right down, right? I know there's a
yeah,
lot of people say, "I'll do your posting for you. I'll do this, I'll do that." That's great if they're posting something, but really nothing beats the interaction, the personal interaction, the little conversations that get, "I like this. Can we talk and message it? Can we set up a time to have a chat?" Right?
yeah.
That becomes that invitation.
Yeah, and you know, it takes about 7 to 12 touch points before somebody will actually buy
Mm-hmm.
in this kind of day and age, and a quiz is able to
Mm-hmm.
fast track that a little bit because you've got a whole bunch of micro commitments going on
Yeah.
within, you know, every question that they answer. If it's 5 or 8 questions, they've read the report, they've gotten on a call. Like you've got a lot of touch points in that. So, you know, like maybe you don't have to spend quite as much time to get
Yeah.
to the sale,
Right.
or the offer, I guess. The other thing is to make sure that you are focusing your marketing attention not only just where your ideal client is, but where
Mm-hmm.
you like to be, right?
Yes.
There are a million ways to market your business, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't do all of them, and you
No.
shouldn't do all of them.
No.
And don't try to be on every platform.
No.
Like don't be on, like, you know, be on the ones that you love to be on. I'm not a
Mm.
social media person. I'm not on any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Not consistently because I don't that's not my gig.
Yeah.
That's not what I like to do. I love to podcast and I love to network. So that's where you'll find me.
Mm.
And you know, if I have to post on social media, I will, but it's a have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And
Yes.
I've, you know,
Yes.
I've built a
What
business
works
around
for
that, and
you?
that's totally
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. What works for you?
As long as your ideal clients are there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you're a real big fan of TikTok, great. If your ideal clients aren't there, not so great,
No,
right? Like,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
so like make sure that it's a good match for both. Again, it's a match for both of you, right? So
Mm.
it's where they're hanging out, it's where you want to hang out. You know, they've got the problem, you've got the solution for them. There's a good fit for personality wise, and you know, taking it to the next step. And that's, you know, that's just going to help you build the community that you want to build.
Don't get caught up in numbers. Oh, 10,000 followers. No, you want interactors, right? You have a smaller group, but they are interacting with each other, you know, that, and then again, it becomes people inquiring. You know, I'm intrigued with what you're doing. I want the conversation. You know, nurture those rather than, oh, I've got to get another 10,000 followers. Does that translate into anything? Right?
Yeah,
So,
I don't want downloads. I want
yeah.
dollars.
Yes.
I want I want like I want like I'm running a business, folks.
Yes.
I want clients,
Yes.
right? Like I mean, I want a community of people that are building their businesses up, and but that, you know, that's not like I'm not out there to be in the you know, the ether just talking.
Exactly.
Um
Exactly. I'm talking just
other people
nothing
can do
here.
that. That's
Yeah.
fine, but you know, like I'm not interested in downloads over dollars. I'm
Yeah.
happy with downloads,
Hmm.
you know, but that's not driving my business.
Exactly. So, you know, whether somebody is starting out as a solopreneur, you know, or whether somebody's, you know, got already a nice little business going, you can design a quiz around which is their is quintessentially this is the calling card, this is the invitation, the
Yeah.
quiz, right?
Yeah.
So you can
Yep.
design around that to what they need. So you send them a quiz for the people that are interested in taking it. Then that next step is that conversation of what you perceive they need. And then design a quiz around that that then becomes their calling card to filter out who their clientele is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if somebody's starting out with a great idea or has been at it for a while and just needs to pivot and or change tactics. You can help anybody at any level.
Well, so quizzes tend to work better with people that have offers that have been tested already and
Hmm.
tried, because like a quiz is a little heavy lifting. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts, and it's really, you really need to really know your ideal client and have that really figured out first. So
Hmm.
if you're still kind of in that startup phase where you're still trying to figure out, well, you know, your first product and who is going to go to and so on, a quiz isn't really going to help you all that much because you don't quite know what to make it about. Like
Mm,
you don't really know what the 3 a.m. question is.
you're
You
right.
don't really know what you're going to send them to, the solution. So it tends to be more for those a little bit more established entrepreneurs that are looking for a system and looking to kind of, you know, they've had
Mm,
luck with their product and, you know, the marketing that they are doing, and now they're ready to kind of put it on autopilot, ready to go,
you're
ready to
right.
take it to that next level and stop worrying about it and just have clients on demand, if you will.
What about, using it, as you said, like market research in the sense that you are starting a business, you want to know who your clientele is, you want to know if people are even interested in the product, kind of answering, setting out the right kind of questions for people to go, oh, yeah, this is intriguing. I'll be interested in that, or no, I want that one, for people to then gather the data they need to know which way to go.
Yes, so this is where the difference between a survey and a quiz
Mm-hmm.
comes in. A quiz is more of a two-way conversation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to, like, as a client, I'm trying to learn something about myself. As a business owner, I'm trying to learn something about the person coming to me, and we both get information.
Right.
If you are just collecting information to make a decision later,
Mm-hmm.
then it's more of a survey. It's one way, and in order to do that, you typically have to incent people.
Mm-hmm.
Because why are they going to give you their time, their answers, just out of the blue? So I know that when I do market research, I do things like, hey, you know what? If you help me out with this, and I try to do it on the phone. I tried to make it a one-on-one call. I'll have you on my podcast.
Yeah.
I will give you a lead generation audit,
Mm-hmm.
or a lead magnet audit. I will like that. Like I
Yes.
try to give some things that I know my ideal clients would like and want, to get those, you don't need many, so to get
Mm-hmm.
those few calls in to say, look, I'm working on a new program. I just want to run it by you. Just want
Yeah.
to see, like how you feel about the price, how you feel about the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I'm actually going through that process right now with a new program that I'm running. And one of the things that I'm doing is saying, you know what, if you help me out with this half-hour call, I
Mm-hmm.
will like put
Yes.
you on my podcast and
Right. Right.
a quiz audit or whatever for you.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, market research is a different technique.
Mm-hmm.
It's an information in
Yes.
versus a learning
Communication.
on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be done though, and it should be done.
Yes.
But again, you need to do the market research with your ideal client. So
Mm-hmm.
again, you still need to understand who your ideal client is, because doing with a bunch of people that are never going to be your clients
Yeah.
anyways, and yeah, I'll sign up for $5,000 for that. That sounds amazing. And you go back to them, and they're like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's just not, it's not really for me. That's not the point,
Yeah.
right?
They're
So,
chasing the carrot, they're not biting the carrot. Yeah.
mhm,
There's so many moving wheels in being an entrepreneur. And again, before you set out in it, everybody gets enticed by the freedom. I'm the boss of me and I can decide this and that. Yes, those are all the wonderful benefits. But there are so many other kind of cogs in the wheel that you need to understand. And before you make that decision, you really need to kind of lay everything out and understand it. And I think kind of even having a quiz for yourself, you know, are you
mm,
prepared for this? Do you really want to do this? Are you
yeah,
whom are you doing it for? What is your long-term goal? And when we talk about long-term goal, it's not saying I'm going to do this month and this month and this year. It's really what do in 5 years, do you still want to be in business? Like I was given a vision 6 years ago where to take my podcasting in the sense of mentorship directory and the books, but it took five
mhm,
years for it actually to come about. So just
yep,
because you're given an idea doesn't mean you have to act on it straight away. Sometimes you've got to wait for other synchronicities to happen for the time to be right. Right.
yeah,
So it's how to tune into that. And I think very often we need that questionnaire for ourselves to actually, before
mhm.
we dive into something.
Yeah, I mean, kind of sitting down with why am I doing this? What is the
Mm,
desire? Who am I serving? What are they going to get out of it? How is it going to grow my business?
mhm.
Who do I need to connect with to make this work? Like, do I need a VA? Do I need, help the coaches or something? Like, what are those parameters
Yeah.
that to make this work and flow really well?
Yeah, yeah. And to know what, you are giving up. That 9 to 5, you can come home and not think about business. Whereas when you are an entrepreneur, your business is going to be on your mind all the time and how to get it off your mind and be with family, friends, and life, right? So compartmentalizing, which isn't always easy. So it's a lot of things to learn. And of course, your free giveaway is a wonderful, great lead in that to uncover the client attraction gaps that keeping your business from soaring. And you've got gap one, the real client struggle. Get crystal clear on what your ideal clients struggle with and want most, for that every strategy you implement lands right on the money. Gap two, the perfect lead filter. Skyrocket your sales by pre-qualifying leads for your introductory calls, webinars, masterclass, or sales pages. And gap three, the effortless offer. Easy guide to your clients to offer without feeling like you're proposing marriage on the first date. And of course, people can go quizformybusiness.com and find that lovely giveaway, which is a lovely way for people just to kind of start off and get engaged, kind of get into sync with what you are offering and understand the impact that it's having.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Quizformybiz.com.
Right?
That's all you have to remember.
Exactly. So everything, of course, is there, and your podcast again is, I've got the link right here on your page, and of course, it's
Yep.
Kickstart the Conversation, and there's a form to be a guest right here, and you can click on the podcast link I've got here that leads right to it, and of course, your site is CatherineOleary.com, which for people who are just listening and need the spelling, it's CatherineOleary.com. And you're on Facebook, Coreyland, Catherine O'Leary, Instagram, LinkedIn, the Quiz Queen. And so, people, if they want to kind of do their own little research and kind of follow you and everything else, it's all there.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I love the idea of the quizzes, because very often is that the biggest thing that we do in so many things is we get stuck on what we think is the problem when really we're asking the wrong
Yes.
question. And, by
Yes.
having something that filters things out and it resets our mind to address really, what the issue is, as I said, you realize that isn't such a big issue. This is what's causing that problem. And you hadn't thought about that because you're too stuck on that problem. So having that quiz and having it as a way of a calling card and an introduction into someone that you can then take to that next level. They finished the quiz. That's already done. You already know what they need. That's the invitation. Now that next conversation, everybody's been set and put in the same vibe tribe to then take it
Yeah,
further. So you're not wasting time
exactly.
having an hour call to find out at the end of the call you're not a fit. You already know, yes, I can address this. I can help this person with this. I can see this person who really wants to find a solution. The next conversation, that synergy, and then phase three.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And with the quiz, you can put your personality into it.
Mhm.
You can be quirky. You can give people a little slice of you,
Yes,
so they're not surprised when they get
right.
on a call. But
Exactly. Represent you.
um, yeah, exactly. And it's all information that you have stored too. So you can now collect that information from all of your leads, and now you've got a database that you can actually make some decisions on, and collect, and even it's your own research
Yes.
really, so you
Yeah.
can cite it in your articles, and you can
Mm.
reference it in your talks, like X% of my clients do this,
Hmm.
this, and this. And it gives you a lot of authority in the marketing that you can be doing, so it's a win all around.
Exactly. It's kind of, it's taking all the puzzle pieces that feel scattered and putting them in order and clearing, making a clearer picture. And, it's like, when you go to the doctor, where does it hurt? Well, here, there, everywhere. And you forget to ask that one thing, right? Because so
Yeah.
this way is you're prepared, with to know what to ask. To know what to receive back. And it's just, that's what we need in entrepreneurship. We need that clarity to know what is the next step, the right step. And if we've got the right questions, we now can look for the right answers, and we can look for the right people that can help us make that next step. So it gives us a much clearer and concise path to take, which is really important.
Yes.
So I love it. I think it's absolutely great. I think everybody that's an entrepreneur needs it, because it is one of those things that allows people to, as I said, really be very clear and find that clarity, and then know who are the right people. You may find somebody, oh, I get on so well with you, but quite honestly, you can't help me in my business. Right. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
all the time.
Yes.
That's what your podcast is for,
Yes. Yes.
right? Like to talk to those people. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Talk to like great people. Can't
Yes.
I have no idea what to do with your business or
Exactly.
help you with your business, but I'd love to talk to you on my podcast,
Exactly.
100%. But I
Exactly.
don't want to use my hour-long discovery call or strategy call to figure that out,
Right.
right? Like
Exactly.
I want, like if that happens in the quiz, then I want that person to go to the book a podcast,
Hmm.
right? Book an interview as opposed to going into my calendars. And you can do that. You can send people to different places. So
Yes.
like let's be efficient with our time because we
Exactly.
have a lot.
And again, the first thing, the biggest problem is what do I need? What is my problem? Who can help me? There are plenty of people out there, but who's the right person for you? And that is the thing. Are they clear on what your problem is and what you need? And if they're clear on it by you filling out the asking the right questions, and then you feel, yes, I've got somebody who knows what I'm at. Now you know
Yep.
actually in that conversation, I'm free to put my money behind this person because I feel they hear, they see me, and they can help me. That's the biggest
Yep.
problem, I think, with any entrepreneur. There are so many coaches out there. Who do I go to? So this
Yep.
beautiful quiz filters out for you to know
Yeah.
whom to go to.
Yeah, because you might not be for me. Like you might
Exactly.
like be reading through the quiz and going, "What the hell?
Yes.
Like what the heck is this? Like, no, thank you." And it's like, "Great,
Yes, yes,
off
we've
you
just not
go."
wasted each other's time. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So I think
exactly.
this is something all businesses should have. So they should so where did they take a quiz on your network in order for you to find out if if they're the right person? So if somebody wants to reach out to you, do you have a quiz for them that you give them at first to filter out what they need?
That's actually quiz. Yeah, quizformybiz.com.
That's
That's
it.
the quiz that I give everyone.
Right,
That's my calling card. That's
right.
like it tells you a little bit about or the client a little bit about their client attraction
Hmm.
and some of the gaps that they might be able to fill. By definition, it's a quiz, so it's showing you exactly kind of how it works, some of the questions that I have there. And then, like if it's for you, then there's an opportunity to, attend a master class
Right.
and get to know the system better, get to know me better, and we can connect further from there. But everyone goes through that
Yeah.
quiz. Everyone, like
That's
no one gets on my calendar
right.
without going through that because I want to know where they need the most help. Is
Yes.
it in clarity? Is it in follow up? Like how can we frame the conversation to begin with as going to be most efficient for both of us?
It's the gatekeeper,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, all the top notches have gatekeepers, people that filter out who gets to them. So this is a filter out of who gets to you. You're not wasting time. You now know, yes, I can help. No, I can't. And
Yeah.
this is the next step. So it's absolutely great. I
Mhm.
love it. So people just step up, take the quiz, find out if Catherine
Yeah.
is the right one for you. But I really do think that in any business you've got, this is something that's going to be a lifesaver in the sense that it will filter out the people that aren't for you, those that are for you, and that you can really pay attention to them when you get to that next level because you know you can help them. Right? You know they're
Yeah.
ready to be helped. Not everybody's ready to be helped, and that
Yep.
means you can be more efficient. And yes, obviously, you can make the dollars for what's why, one of the reasons why you're in business, but it also you're building up a clientele that you're truly serving that feels really
Yeah.
served by you. And that obviously is
Yeah.
going to refer you, will come back to you next time they need you. And that's what you really want in business. You want to build a community of clientele that really, and enjoy the experience with you. And that's the
Yep.
bottom line of it. Thank you so much for being with me here today. It's wonderful information. I think it's absolutely necessary for every person who wants to step into business to have that one. Oh, what a clear way of entering into business and understanding who can help you by just, that clarity. This
Yeah.
person's talking
Yeah.
gobbledygook to me. I'm just not interested. Or this person, I can help. What a wonderful way to filter out and then really be able to pinpoint who is there
Yeah.
to help, who is there to serve. And that's wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone.
until next time, folks, remember there is always help. You've just got to be willing to seek it out. Catch you later. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.